Hello, everyone. It's almost spring, and then spring is a time for cleansing ourselves. And how do we cleanse and reset our body is the topic of our discussion today with Oliver Sanchez. He is a certified naturopath, nutritionist, and a chef. He's joining me live from UK. Thank you so much for joining me.
Well, thank you very much for inviting me today. Definitely, we are approaching spring, so definitely a subject to really address today.
All right, let's just understand when you say how to reset your body, what does it mean?
Exactly. So resetting the body can mean a lot of things different to many different people. So for example, resetting, for example, some people will say, oh, I need to reset my thyroid, I need to reset my adrenals, or I need to reset my brain, which means that you need to start from scratch from a certain point, which means that whatever you have been doing before was not working. So when you want to use that term reset, it means that what you have been doing has led to where you are today, where maybe you are not healthy, where you are not happy, or maybe your mental health is still not optimal and your well-being overall is not optimal either. Sorry. So the importance of resetting the body is to say, today I'm taking responsibility for my health, and this is what I'm going to do. So obviously many people don't have the same exposure to the same information. So again, it's very difficult to extract what is right for you. And again, when I will kind of recommend or suggest certain things, it might not work for you because we are all different. So when we are looking at resetting, let's say, the thyroid, what we want now is to avoid any kind of food that will lead to kind of a hyperpermeability of the gut lining that will literally kind of create inflammatory response that will eventually be directed to the thyroid, and therefore the thyroid will be under trouble. And then obviously if nothing is done, we continue to eat wheat, to continue to eat dairy, we know that those products have a cross-reactivity with cells of thyroid glands. So when we look at this, now we know that we need to reset our body in a way that we need to avoid some food. However, if we want to reset the adrenal, what we want to do is to replenish the body. We want to actually focus on a more nutrient-dense diet. We need to bring all the building blocks, all the factors that are required for the adrenal to secrete all those stress hormones, to really secrete those sexual steroid hormone as well. So they all have different action in the body, but hormones secreted by the thyroid or secreted by the adrenals will both have repercussion on the entire set of tissue in the body. So when we want to reset, what we want to do is either take off something that is not good for us and put up things that are actually good for us. So usually I always recommend people to do a food intolerance test to really see where they are today and see what food they really should eliminate from the diet anyway, at least for the next 3 to 6 months, so that they give them a basic to where to start to work. But then again, it may be essential to really eliminate all the problematic foods, maybe the gluten, maybe let's say the dairy product, especially for conventional farming methods. So it's better than to go for organic, but eat less of them. But then it also means that we eat better. So when we eat better, we know that the body will react better as well to the food that we eat. So that will create less problem down the line. And obviously less inflammation and less problem for the gut later on as well in the digestive tract, and particularly the colon, where we know the bacteria play a huge role on our health. So again, when we say we eat for one, and when we're pregnant to say we eat for two, actually we don't. We eat for trillions. We are actually eating to feed the bacteria in our gut. So when we are choosing to eat a certain food, then this food will eventually be used as a source of energy for the bacteria, or will be used as a source of food for the wrong bacteria that will then produce pro-inflammatory marker, which literally will lead to our well-being being kind of sabotaged in a way. And that has started with our choice of food. So that was the food in itself in a very quick presentation. But then again, it also go into lifestyle. We need to move for everything to move inside of us. So for example, we know that stagnation, so having a sedentary lifestyle can lead to stagnation and constipation in the digestive tract. But it can also lead to stagnation of thought, rumination, and also kind of cognitive dysfunction where brain fog and poor concentration and memory are also key factors. So obviously now what we are looking is to implement changing in our lifestyle that are supporting our health and our well-being and our mental well-being. So we really want to focus on everything that is nourishing to the body, but also mentally. So we want to move. We want to have exercises that are in tune with our bodies. Because, for example, not every exercise will fit everybody's diary and schedule. And also, meditation is not for everyone. So, people who are trying to meditate and it's not working, that is highly understandable because people who do have a strong constitution find it extremely difficult to relax. And they will rather exercise until they're exhausted because when they are exhausted, then they can fall asleep. So, this I see it a lot of time in practice. And I have to say, more and more women as well are suffering from hormonal disbalance because of the way they don't sleep properly, the way they work too hard, and the way they are stressing their body too much. So again, it's all about putting everything back into balance.
Wow, that's beautiful what you said. So now there's a lot of talk about detoxification, right? And also cleanses. Like we're going to see so many advertisements on cleansing.
Mhm.
And so do you want to talk a little bit about how often should we cleanse or not? That's number one. And
Exactly. So detoxification is a field that I am passionate about. I have written a book. It should be out in about a month or two, and is coming as a second part to energize my previous book, who was all about the diet and lifestyle. But this one is just dedicated to detoxification. And I have to say, I don't recommend people detoxifying alone without supervision, especially if they're trying to detoxify heavily, because we understand that it's true. Our body detoxify every day, our cell detoxify every day. They have pathways in place to help the body get rid of toxin. And we know that the lymphatic system that is inside the brain is only operational during the deep sleep stages. So if you don't reach deep sleep, you can't detoxify the brain from all the toxin and metabolic waste. Therefore, that can lead to neuroinflammation. So therefore, you might need to help your body detoxify, and that you need to sleep to help it. So without proper sleep, you will not be able to detoxify. So whatever you will try to do will actually create more problem down the line, and it will not resolve the issue. Now, if we look at liver detoxification, yes, we can support liver detoxification. We can actually promote the release of bile, the concentration of the bile as well, so that we produce more and then we can release more at one time, which actually is essential to digest fat and assimilate all the fat soluble compounds. However, when we look at to support liver function, this is done with food. This is done with the bitter food, everything that stimulates liver function. And we know that curcumin, for example, all the brassicas, the green leafy vegetables, they all support liver function. But we also know that we need amino acids. So we need protein to have proper elimination. With that normal intake of protein, then maybe the liver is not working enough because it doesn't have the building blocks to actually do what it does best. And that is to detoxify and get rid of all the toxin and then excrete them via the elimination channels. So now again, what we're looking at, yes, detox, but then if you don't have a proper diet, then you are missing the building blocks that are essential for liver function. So now, if, for example, you are taking supplements that are releasing toxin from your fat tissue, or you're losing weight too fast because you are on a calorie restricting diet, now what's happening is that all those toxin will end up in the liver and overwhelm the liver because it cannot deal with them. And what it will do is that it will package them once again and send them back to the fatty tissue to be able to deal with them at a later stage. So what's happening now is you have the accumulation of toxin, and that usually is manifesting by many different symptoms. And depending on what your weakest organ is, It can end up in the skin, so it will be skin issues, acne, rosacea, many other things, maybe psoriasis as well, if you are stressed at the same time. But it can also be manifesting as gut issue. It could be bloating, it can be diarrhea, it can be all of these things. And what's happening now is that you are having a symptoms of toxic overload, and that was created by your own measures. So that's why it's very important when you want to detox, and you want to detox for very specific reasons, is very essential to do it supervised by a health practitioner, because then they will be able to guide you and use proven protocols to work that may be adapted to you. Because if you do it alone and you're doing something wrong, you might take maybe a few days, maybe a week or two to realize what has been done. And you might actually end up with, you know, a lot of issue there, because what's happening is that those toxins, especially if you're constipated, they will end up back in the liver, but you have also those toxins that are coming from the fatty tissue. And then now they're overwhelming the liver. And what's happening there is that when you have those kind of factors playing at the same times, this will also impact the gut microbiome. And as a result, they will also produce endotoxin. And endotoxin are also extremely inflammatory to liver tissue. So now what you're having is that you're having liver inflammation and a toxic overload. All of this because you didn't detoxify properly, or you went too fast, or you tried to lose weight too fast as well. So everything comes into play, and therefore your well-being and your health will pay the highest price.
Wow, that's a lot of information. So a lot of people like us will end up going into a juice cleanse, 3-day juice cleanse that all these companies are selling, right? Or some kind of 1 week of some mono diet cleanse. What are your thoughts on those type of things that people are advocating and so much marketing is being done?
Absolutely. So actually, funny enough, because for me, I'm now a professional chef with over 30 years of experience, I have been contacted to do many retreats. So I use also my nutrition and naturopathic medicine to actually create food that is adapted to the body and to the retreat. However, when I'm told, oh, we are doing a detox retreat, I always say straight away, I'm sorry, I don't want to be part of this, because you cannot shock the body of the people who are coming to the retreat on day one. You need to prepare the body for a detox. So when people come for 1 week, they come for 2 weeks. On day one, they have their first juice, and then they have a cold soup for dinner. But then yesterday they had McDonald's, or they have some kind of junk food that literally the body needs to deal with. But now you are actually activating all those detoxification channels, but the body is not prepared, is not primed for dealing with all the kind of toxic overloads that it has been dealing with for so many years. And I've seen it many, many times when people say, oh, after 2 days in a retreat, I have beautiful hair, my skin is better. But then after 1 week, they are worse than they were before. They are fatigued, the body can't deal with it, they can't sleep properly because the liver is literally keeping them awake at night, because we know, according to traditional Chinese medicine, that the liver is more energetically active during the hours of 1 and 3 in the morning. So people who do wake up at the same time every night between the hour 1 or 3 a.m. are literally dealing with liver issues, because what's happening is that the temperature, the body temperature is raised because the liver is overwhelmed and overworked. And that we know that the liver is one of the furnaces keeping our temperature high during the day. And then in the night, we should not have elevated body temperature, because if we do, then we will wake up, because this is a trigger for the brain signaling that there is danger. We should not have elevated body temperature in the night. So that's why all of this, when it comes to detoxification, you have to prepare the body. It's not like, oh, tomorrow I stop smoking, you know, because some people can do it and some people can't. But the problem is, if you say to your body, oh, tomorrow we're going to have juice for 2 weeks, and your body's going to be like, excuse me, what are you doing? Yesterday you tried to kill me, and now you try to kill me the other way. So literally it's mixed messages, and the body just can't understand those messages at all, and it's literally going to create more problem down the line.
That's a lot of information. Thank you so much. I think we all try to shock our body, right? Like you just said, that suddenly we're doing this and then this, and then that nothing happens. And the same story again, because we don't know. And we need education like you are doing to us, to all of us right now.
Absolutely. Because for me, like, oh, I'm going to have a detox tea, for example. That's fantastic. You can add this in your daily routine for the whole month of January or February if you wanted to, or maybe during the spring. That's absolutely fine. But saying you're going to have juices for 2 weeks, that's a big difference. So again, what you want to do is to really focus on nutrient dense food that support liver function, that promote the flow of bile. And then we can look at what is good for the body after that. But obviously, when you do this, you must avoid all those problematic foods. You must avoid the gluten. You must avoid the dairy product. You must avoid all the foods that you are kind of hypersensitive to, because we don't want to create more pollen. Because you're trying to clean the body, you don't want anything to inflame the tissue.
Okay, thank you so much. This is a quick 10-15 minute session that we bring on a daily basis, giving everyone 10 minutes of wellness tips. These are more than 10 minutes of wellness tips for sure. Oliver has given us. So thank you so much. And we look forward to partnering with you more on bringing some workshops, and check us out and keep supporting us. Thank you and have a great week, rest of the week.
Thank you very much. You too.